When I get DMs, it's like a guy and it's like, you're just really sexy or something, and they're like, would love to love, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, either you're trying to get cash out of me or something. Like, you know, I'm not straight and I'm got a wife. I don't know, I just find those ones hilarious.
Hi, I'm Anna from Enemy, and I'm joined by G-Flip for the latest in the Enemy in Conversation series. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Doing great. You're currently on your first ever US headlining tour.
Yes.
How's it been so far?
It's been great, it's been rowdy. There's been people queuing up before every show, so I go say hey to them in the line. People be singing their lungs out. Meeting heaps of cool people, going to cities that I've never been before in the States and trying different foods. And
I saw you tried a Philly cheesesteak last night, or yesterday.
Yep, yesterday I tried a Philly cheesesteak, had no idea what that is. It's just basically bread and meat and cheese and onions. Yeah.
Pretty much. You're playing New York tonight.
Yeah.
Welcome to New York.
Welcome to New York. Just been waiting for you.
And you have an after party at $3 Bill tonight too.
I do. Yeah, it's a big evening.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, interviews straight to double shows. So, yeah, I'm ready though. I've had a Cliff Bar, so I'm good.
Do you have any advice for aspiring musicians who kind of want to branch out into songwriting and like writing for other artists?
I think when you go into a room and you're like fresh in the songwriting, producing world or going into sessions, no idea is a bad idea. I feel like when I've worked with younger artists, it's like a little bit like nervous or like, you know, shy to say their ideas, but I think like no idea is a bad idea. And even if that idea isn't the idea, it might like spring into another idea that then ends up being, you know, what's on the record. So I think I always like when I'm in the studio and I've worked with other artists before, encouraging them to play some instruments. Because everyone, like a lot of musicians, they can play a little bit, maybe just a few chords, and I'm like, play your few chords. Like,
even if they have no experience, like at all?
Well, if you have a little bit of experience. So I've worked with artists who are like, I can only play a few chords, I can't play guitar. Or like, I know a few chords on piano, like, I can't really play. But I think it doesn't matter if you can really play or not. I think like, just like you channeling the energy into an instrument and just like playing what you know, then can spark ideas. So I always think the shittier the prettier. So like you don't have to be the fucking best at everything. Like your skill set is your skill set and greatness can come from that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Is there a main difference between writing for an artist and writing for yourself? Like, do you have to pull inspiration from somewhere else or like be less personal when it comes to that?
I feel like when I've like been in the rooms or how other artists songwrite, I want it to feel authentic to them. So it's almost like a lot of talking, because it's like I want to know their story to write a song that they can sing on stage and then they can connect to it because it's from their experience. If I just write a song in the room and they're sitting there about something I've been through, then it's not going to be authentic. And I've been in rooms where I've had top liners in the room and they've just written a song and I'm sitting there like, I'm never going to sing this. This is like totally not me. So I think when you're top lining or helping another artist write a song, then you have to learn about them and talk about your feelings and relationships, or what do they want to write a song about, or what are they inspired, and you just like help bring it out of them. Like, you're just there to facilitate pulling the song out of them rather than me writing a song and throwing it at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a proper collaboration.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. You recently performed with Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park and Fort Minor. What was that like? Let us know.
Yeah, I've been such a massive fan of Linkin Park and Fort Minor like my whole life growing up. And I met Mike a couple years ago and we just got along really well, and we've worked in the studio on some music together that's in my vault of tunes. And yeah, he's just become a friend, and I saw that he was in Australia when I was doing my headline tour over there, so I just texted him and I was like, do you happen to be like around any of these dates? And then he was like, oh my God, I'm actually in Sydney that night that you're playing. So then I was like, should we get on stage? And he was like, absolutely. So yeah, I had an extended version of my song, The Worst Person Alive. I sent him the extended version, and then he was like, oh, maybe I'll just rap one of my songs, something the crowd knows, in the gap, in the extension part. So then, yeah, he pulled out in the end, and then I joined him in the chorus, and just kind of made a fusion between The Worst Person Alive and In the End by Linkin Park. So that was a pretty surreal moment, and like really a crazy moment for me.
Yeah.
Because I was, you know, a kid like trying to get to the front of the mosh at Linkin Park shows. So yeah, it's cool.
So jealous. You saw Chester.
Yes. Back in the day.
What's your favorite Linkin Park and Fort Minor song? You have to spill
it. But the Linkin Park album, Hybrid Theory, like that whole album was my, like, would just run that album.
So
like
good.
That whole album. I think that's for everyone. Like,
yeah.
All the boys in my band are like, Hybrid Theory, oh my God.
Good, so good. You just mentioned that you wrote some music with him.
Yes.
Can you spill? What does it sound like?
What does it sound like? It's drum heavy. I remember like the first time I worked with Mike going absolute ham on his drum kit. And like, it's very few studios like have drum kits, so I get really excited when there's a drum kit in the studio. I don't know, to me it sounds very like Mike Shinoda crossed with me.
Oof.
Like it does, like, you can hear the Mike Shinoda production vibe in it. And then there's a few songs we did. Another song's like real trashy with like a bit of like a Dilla kind of suede drum beat. Like that kind of like slightly behind the beat swung like hat groove, but I've put it on like a trashy. And like his drum setup is just so good. His drums sound so good. Like straight away you record them, you like get out of the booth, go listen to it in the room, and it's like, dude, what have you done here? Like, how does he sound so good? Anyway, his drums sound so good.
What was he like as a collaborator? Especially being a fan and like going from like being a fan to like musician and working with him.
Yeah, he's just great. He's just such a likable, like loving dude. Like he's so like cheery and happy and like easygoing and fun.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of Aussies a little bit. He's got a bit of like chilled, laid back Aussiness into him. But at the same time, he's really good at like having direction and knowing like, no, we should do this, or like, you know, sometimes when it comes to making a decision, some people are a bit like, oh, you know, we're but he's like, nah, like we should like go this way or that way, or we should do this, or that should be the lyric, or nah, let's do this guitar part, or maybe this needs this, you know, like, so yeah, he's really super fun to record with, and it's cool. He's got like a little basketball setup, so then like we can create and then like shoot some hoops and then just like talk about, you know, the song and what we think it needs and stuff. So yeah, super dope.
So moving on to your album, Drummer. Congrats on your 6 ARIA nominations. Insane. I know it's a huge thing, especially being Australian. You got nominated for Album of the Year and Best Live Act. Again, insane. Was there one nomination that kind of really stood out to you that means like the most and kind of makes you feel like, damn, like I did this?
All of them I was pretty chuffed with. Like there's a video of me watching the nominations and I'm like shocked and crying because I was hoping to get maybe nominated for a few, but getting nominated for 6 was a lot to take in. I couldn't believe it. I kind of still don't believe it's real, but I think the one that I most am excited to be nominated for is probably the Best Live Act. Me and my band, we make our own show. I don't have like an MD that like is sourced elsewhere that creates a show then teaches us the show. Like I come from a band background because I just like played in bands my whole life. I was like a session drummer in just bands like majority of my life. I only started singing not too long ago. So to get Best Live Act was really cool, and it means a lot to, you know, my band members. Like they were like crying, like I was crying, but they were crying, and like to get nominated for that like means so much to those boys, and I love them so much. They're like my brothers. So seeing them so happy, like I really would love to win that ARIA just to make their fucking life. Like they would, like I'd be stoked with it obviously, but like I'll be so much more stoked seeing them get that, because they deserve it and they work so hard, and we had so much fun building my show that we're currently touring at the moment. We bunkered down in my house in LA and like built this show together, and like we'd film ourselves in the house and then we'd all watch it on the screen in my house together. Like we just wanted it to be the best show possible. So
That's so amazing and cute.
Best
Love
Live
it.
Act, yeah. Like, oh, just to see the boys if we won that would just make my life so joyous. So fingers crossed.
Fingers
it's fan
crossed.
voted, so if you want to chuck a vote, like that'd be cute.
Throw over those votes, fans, immediately.
Yeah.
So you played every instrument on Drummer. Insane. What was the hardest thing to play?
Harmonica. That's
Really?
a hard instrument to play.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because you've got to get your blowing power in one direct little hole. It's really like, I haven't mastered it. Luckily, like harmonicas come in the key of the song, so like you can't really fuck up too much. But like I've got a song called Australia, which is the last song that I released, and I wanted to make sure there was a little bit of that folky Aussie folk vibe on it. So I was like, we've got to have a harmonica on it. So probably getting around that.
What's the biggest challenge about like writing and producing and kind of just like working around editing yourself? Because it can be hard.
I don't like editing my vocals. So my co-producer, Aiden, well, actually, no, I'll let him do a take of comping, and then I'll be like, oh no, that's fucked. Oh no, that we need to redo that. But I don't know, editing myself, I feel like you just keep going till you get the right take, and you just keep working on the song till it feels right. For me, like, I don't know, I have a sense when a song is finished or not finished, and I'll keep attacking it till it feels right and just keep trying things. So a lot of this record was trying lots of things and then kind of being like, nah, that isn't right. Like, let's try different things. Let's try, you know, a lot of the times I hear melodies, so like I'll hear like an instrumental line, but I'm not sure if it is a saxophone, if it is a harmonica, if it's like that. So then we'll just try all the different like sonics and then go from there with what it is. But I don't know, with me, I start a lot with drums, sitting at the piano, finding the key of the song first, then because the album's drummer, then I'd sit at the drum kit, work out what drum vibe I wanted, record in the drum vibe. Aiden, who I co-produced a lot of the stuff with, he's like a bass guy, so then we'd get the bass part down right, and then I feel like as long as you've got a strong top line, then it's just kind of dressing the present and like building the song to make it what it is. But a lot of it's trial and error.
It makes a lot of sense to kind of go off with the drumming and the bass, because that is like the core rhythm of a song or like of a band. So it's crazy, because I feel like people always think it's kind of like, oh, a guitar riff or like a guitar line, but it's like there should be a focus on the drumming and the bass, because it's like what drives it. Yeah,
a lot of the songs like didn't mean to. Like I love the Rosanna Toto like Picaro shuffle, so then I was like, I've got this song called Didn't Mean To that's like in that shuffle kind of groove world. What do I want the drums to sound like? And I'm like, fuck. Like whenever I hear a shuffle song, I'm like, fuck, they could have used the Picaro shuffle in it. Like a song on my album called Baked happened from me sitting at the drum kit and going, boo, 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 ka, boo, 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 ka, boo, boo, ka, boo, 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 ka. What have you done to me? Ka, boo, 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 ka. Like started from me like just playing like drums. Like The Worst Person Alive, I wrote like the verse and pre-chorus. I didn't have a chorus yet, but I like listened to a lot of Bruce Springsteen growing up, and like the drum beat of Born to Run is like so driving, like do do ka do 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 ka do 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 ka do 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 ka. It's like never ending. It has this sense of urgency and you wanting to run, and it's also a bit anthemic. So like when it came to that song, I knew like I want that like Bruce Springsteen never-ending groove with the little touches of saxophone in it, and like the glockenspiel that like does a counter melody in the chorus. Like there's certain elements of songs that were definitely inspired by lots of drum grooves or music that I grew up listening to, that I like listen to the production and then I'm like, oh, I love the vibe of that, and so cool. Love this. So I definitely implemented that with the album.
I love it. Yeah, so let's talk about the track Be Your Man.
Yeah.
You wrote that about your amazing wife.
Yes.
What was the process like writing that song? Is it different to just writing any other song that was on the album, especially since there's like meaning to it? And I read that she liked a different song that was about somebody completely else. So like having that song dedicated to her. Yeah. Just that process, what was it like?
A lot of Chriselle's favourite songs are the songs that are written about ex-partners. Like, but she's like, it's a good song. Yeah. And I'm like, thanks, baby. But like, when you're a songwriter, like, and you're like in a relationship, like a healthy relationship, you like, songwriting like comes from places of like heartbreak and like struggle and stuff. So I've just got so many songs in my vault that are like written from different periods of time. So I feel like when I write the next record, there's probably going to be like a chorus that I wrote like 4 years ago about someone else that's just dope that like I'll probably use again. But anyway, when it came to Be Your Man, I really wanted a song in 6/8 on the record. Just I wanted to experiment with different time signatures for the record and tempos, and like I really wanted a 6/8 song, so that was on my hit list. When I was on the K-Flay tour, I was up late after the show buzzing, and I made a little voice memo that I like beatbox. I do a lot of voice memo songwriting, so I like beatbox and like sing, and I sang into my phone. If you think that you're ain't boom. So I like sing the melody and like beatbox a little drum beat. So I had this like the lyrics and like this like 6/8 drum groove kind of in my arsenal. And then a friend of mine who's a songwriter, Jessie Thomas, said, I've got like this like song idea, like Be Your Man. The chorus is something like this, like I understand, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. And I was like, oh my God, like that's sick, that's in 6. I've got this like verse idea, and it was like just like so meant to be, like
serendipity.
I know.
Yeah, so
and
good.
Then we just worked on sat with the guitar on the floor, and then we just worked through the chorus melody and the chorus lyrics, and then went through my little voice memo and like, if you think that you're happy, it ain't true, and like went through my whole verse, and it was like literally just so meant to be. And then like we just sat on the floor and like wrote this dope fucking song.
Sick.
And then that was kind of just a guitar version, and that's the version that I showed Chriselle. And I showed her in a pile of songs because I was writing a lot at that moment. I showed her in like 5 songs, and that was like the 3rd or 4th song. But I didn't want to be like, baby, this song's about you. Like, so, and then like as soon as she heard it, her ears picked up. She's like, oh, this is my favorite of the bunch so far. And I was like, it's about you, honey. And then she was like, oh my God, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, it fully is. And then I just worked on like fleshing out all the instrumental parts and like recording the drums and recording the guitar parts and little guitar solo and the whole kind of vibe, and then it came together to the more finished version, but it was super fun.
Speaking about the guitar solo, that was like your first big solo in a song, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
What was that like, playing, just shredding the guitar, just going off?
I honestly, on stage, it's my most nervous point of the show, because I'm real seasoned at playing drums.
Yeah.
Like I've done so many hours on stage in past bands and like playing in bands for my whole life. So I'm not nervous on drums. And if I fuck up on drums, like it's like, oh, I can really easily just get back to it because I'm so like just done my hours.
Yeah.
But like rocking a guitar solo on stage, I haven't done my hours. Like I've played in bands where I've played like rhythm guitar and stuff, and like
Just like chords.
yeah, just chord stuff. Like in studying music, I've got on the guitar and done chord stuff, and like even when I play live, like I play songs on guitar. It's very easy for me. I'm seasoned at that. I used to do wedding gigs where I used to play guitar and
Iconic.
sing. But like ripping a guitar solo, like is my most nervous part of my show, because I'm like, this is just, I haven't done my hours at it. And like the first few shows I'd fuck up a little bit, because in my head, like the anxiety in my head is like, you're not a fucking guitarist, why are you doing this? And then I just had to get over that a few times, and now I'm a bit more confident. But I always wanted, like in my show, like the iterations of building my show, I wanted there to be progression. And I feel like as a musician, artist, like every show you have, you want to keep growing. You don't want it to just be the same show that people come to and they're like, oh, you do the same things. Like I want to try grow as a musician. So I want to like have a piano moment that I've been working on, and have a guitar solo, and like work on that, so the audience is like, what is G going to do this time? So yeah, I do a cheeky guitar solo. I get a bit in my head, I'm like, you can do this, come on, like you've got this.
You got it.
But yeah, so that's fun.
And you get to shred it every night for the
I
next
shred it
couple of
every
weeks.
night.
Which counts towards your hours.
Yes, I know, it counts towards my hours.
So moving on to a different song, a song called Kevin.
Yes.
That must have been really satisfying to record, just because it's about like trolls DMing you and just being horrible and being ignorant.
Yeah.
Do you still get DMs like that after releasing the song?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
100%. You
So
get crazy DMs.
nothing has changed,
But
sadly.
some of them are just so crazy that it's funny. Like the DM that inspired Kevin was like, the language was like, you were meant to marry a man, and you were meant to be up there wearing a dress on your wedding day, and like just so many things. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe there's people like this, that it was like almost comical. It was like, wow. And they were like, you know, you're sinning, and like you're a woman, you're not non-binary, you have a vagina, like everyone just like all of the things in one DM. It was just like, oh wow.
They had the time.
They had the time. And I really made them extremely angry. I really affected more than just a day, maybe weeks of they're probably still angry.
But you know what? You came out on top because you have a great song on your album.
Kevin, and like that one was fun to make. That was made in like literally a day. I think that was like a few hours. Me and Dan Farber, like obviously like a break beat, like, you know, that kind of, you know, if you beef up the tempo on the drum beat of that song, it's kind of like Prodigy pendulum, like
so good.
Like it's that whole like fast drum and bass kind of beat. Obviously we've turned the tempo down a bit, but it's still like like it's still that drum and bass kind of vibe drum beat, which obviously I talk about this, like all the songs on the Drummer album I can talk about like it from a drum perspective, because it's a Drummer album. But
it's cool to listen to, because like as you just mentioned, like you give Prodigy vibes, where like this other song has a different vibe, and 6/8. So it's like cool to understand that and hear that, because you're not, and you mentioned this before, usually pop albums aren't so drum focused. So like having this new perspective and just hearing that, it's great.
Yeah, I think I'm just a drummer, so I wanted all my pop songs to, like, the drums were intentional on every song. And that song, like, just with the, like, heavy bass synth kind of vibe, and, I got some patches up on Arcade and was just like hitting stuff. Baked and Kevin were made in the same day on that day, so they kind of pair together the drum tone. I tried to recreate the drum tone of Kevin and Baked in a proper studio, and then I just hated it. I loved the lo-fi, like shitty recording of like my drums that were not tuned, just set up in a studio that wasn't treated, that just had like 3 mics over it. So I like that tone that's a bit grittier. So yeah, it was dope.
Love to hear it. Weirdest DM you've gotten since releasing Kevin and...
Worst, I get so many fucking weird DMs, like weird as fuck. So many people send me voice memos.
Oh jeez.
And videos of them like drunk about to go to bed at night, and they're like, gee, I just wanted to say like fucking I love getting DMs when men hit on me. I just think that is so hilarious. Like, read the room. Like,
quite literally.
Like, when I get DMs, it's like a guy and it's like, you're just really sexy or something, and they're like, would love to love, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, either you're trying to get cash out of me or something. Like, you know, you're, I don't know, like some weird, obviously I'm not straight and I'm got a wife. I don't know. I just find those ones hilarious.
You're headlining Atlanta Pride Fest next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
Congratulations, it's gonna be great. How does it feel to be able to celebrate the LGBTQA plus community?
Oh, well, that's my community, you know.
Those
like
are my peeps.
They're my people. Like, it feels so good to celebrate it, you know. I feel like it's really great that now we're, you know, in an age, or, you know, there's still a lot of progress that needs to be done, but we're at a stage where we can have a pride and really celebrate, and people are all there with their flags and their kids, and like people are coming together where, you know, years ago that wouldn't have been possible. So it's so great that now, you know, there's such a community and these events are being put on. So I'm so stoked to be playing Atlanta Pride, and I've done a few Pride shows across the States over the years, and they're always just the best fun. Like, I always have so much fun, and the energy's great, and like I love seeing like, you know, queer parents or, you know, allies bring their kids to expose them to just such a great, beautiful like party. So yeah, there's so much love, and people really go for it. People really sing Gay For Me really loud at Pride. People really go for Gay For Me and Be Your Man. Iconic. People sing it like it's their last breath on earth. It's really cute and great, and I'm very fortunate and lucky to get to play.
Yeah. So as a queer non-binary drumming lead singer, you've become the role model that you've always wanted. When did you realize that, like, shit, like, growing up I didn't have this, and now like I get to be that for people? Yeah,
I think it hasn't really sunk in just yet. I think I've still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely strive to be the idol I never had. And the few times I've seen glimpses of it has been like really emotional for me. Like, I did meet and greets across Australia, and I met like just so many kids who were dressing like me, and, you know, were dealing with their gender identity, and like I just met so many like amazing like youth that were looking up to me and told me like that they look up to me. And, you know, a lot of fans, they send me videos of their kids like watching a TV screen of like me playing drums, and they've got little sticks, and it's so cute. Or there was this little kid named Amelia Stone that I played Pride in Oklahoma.
Wow.
And, you know, Amelia's just front row dressed exactly like me, and I brought them up on stage and like got everyone to chant Amelia, and like then I played in Dallas, and Amelia's front row again, and I remembered Amelia and like was like, Amelia, you're back, and like, and Amelia's just like dressed exactly like me, like stuff like that. It's like, wow, and it makes me cry. Like, I cried on stage both of those shows.
Yeah.
It's really emotional.
Yeah. So I guess the final emotional question is kind of, you looked up to your drumming teacher, Jenny, growing up, and, you know, sadly she passed away. What do you think she would think of Drummer and like your ARIA nominations, and the fact that you get to be fully 100% yourself and kind of be able to just be like, this is me, this is what I have.
Yeah.
And especially like that somebody who you looked up to is just like no longer with us, sadly. What do you think she would have thought about you now?
Oh my God, it brings a tear to my eye. It's gonna make me cry. But
we can
like,
cry together.
Yeah, like she'd be so stoked.
Yeah.
And I think her brother came to one of my shows in Australia, and like he kind of confirmed that to me, and was like, Jenny would be so stoked with this. And He gave me her
gonna make me
last pair. He gave me her last pair of sticks, which is really cool as well. So yeah, she was like my idol and taught me everything, and I dedicated the whole album to her. And she's like 100% the reason.
Come on, let's hug. We can hug for Emmy. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
she's 100%, and it's like teachers really can change your life.
Yeah.
You know, a teacher, when your brain is forming in your adolescence and you're working out what you want to do and your dreams, and like you have so much hope as a kid, and if you're in the right environment, you really can believe you can do anything. And for me, I was just so lucky to have such an amazing role model that like took me under her wing and like told me like, you can do this as a career, and all her dreams became my dreams. So she wanted to tour America, and she was in a band that toured Australia or did shows in like Adelaide, and I thought that was the coolest thing, and like and she did backing vocals for her band. So then I was like, I need to learn how to sing, and like I wanted to do everything she did. So, you know, although she's passed, like I have a moment every show where I look up and I'm like, Jenny's got me. And I feel like she's like a bit of like my guardian angel that's like helped me my whole life. So
We're both gonna cry together. I'm like, I've got contacts in. I was like, wait, I don't know if they'll fall out. Like,
no.
yeah,
So
I
dedicated the whole album, and I mention her in the song "Made for You," which is a song that's dedicated to my drums. Like it sounds like it's a toxic relationship, but it's to my drums, and like I mentioned Jenny in the lyrics, and like she's tatted on my neck. So
she's always with you.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to, you know, be able to just kind of live out your dream, and even though she's not here, like she's with you every step of the way.
Oh yeah, because she basically molded me. Like
legend.
I'm like a little version of her.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the grooves and stuff on the album were like, I remember her teaching me them. Like I wrote a list of, and then put them in all the songs.
I'm so sorry. Like we got so emotional. Like I'm about to.
No, it's every interview. If we talk about Jenny, I cry.
No, it's okay.
It's like
I'm one of those people who cries if somebody cries, but I'm like I have contacts in, and I'm genuinely blind. So like please, like tears go away. It's lovely. It's amazing to be able to live your dreams and know that you like are accomplishing it with somebody who's not here but always here in spirit.
Yeah,
For
for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and open with us.
No worries.
It's been amazing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Yay.